Welcome to Ask the Latina. I'm your host, Terry Beltran. This program is about the opportunity to ask and learn from a Latina trailblazer, with the mission to inspire and motivate Latinas to enter a career where we just do not have enough representation. For more resources, visit our website, askthelatina.com. Welcome to Ask the Latina. My guest today is Stephanie Almodovar. She's an engineer, an environmental engineer, and I'm really excited because environmental is such a big topic these days with our climate change. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Now, first, let's start with your heritage, where you grew up and went to high school.
Yes. So, my mother is from Guatemala. My father is from Puerto Rico. I grew up here in New York, born and raised, and I went to high school just school in general in the South Bronx. My high school was High Leadership Charter School, now known as Lion Charter, leaders in our neighborhood. And I went to college at CUNY, the City College of New York. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, you were born here then
Yes.
in New York? Okay.
Yes.
So, what was it like going to high school, and at what point you kind of got an interest for engineering? Was it at high school?
So it was, but it wasn't through my high school. So, my high school experience was very interesting to sum it all up, because my high school was leadership based or leadership driven. While they wanted all their students to graduate and go straight to college, they also wanted to push their students to become leaders in their fields. And I'm very proud to say that, I do consider myself a leader in my field. When what interested me in environmental engineering or in my field was I've always loved math and science. I always had a passion for the two subjects. Um, my mother would always tell me when I was younger that I would look at numbers and she saw that it was like another language to me. And it was like I always saw it to be like a third language for me. And so when I was applying for universities, I wanted to focus on the math and the science aspect. But while I was in high school, I had an internship at an organization called The Point, which was actually down the block from my high school. And at The Point, I learned about a lot of sustainable and environmental advocacy and all the issues that many communities face environmentally and socially wise. So when I was applying for programs or applying for bachelor's degrees, I wanted to focus on environmental justice while also incorporating my mathematical and science practice as well. So that's where I found the environmental engineering at City College, and I graduated in June of last year with my BE in environmental engineering.
Well, that's great. So, what was the transition like for you from high school to college? Did you have a mentor, or did you were prepared already to go into it because it sounded like you like math?
Yeah, so my high school prepared me in the way that they could. They prepared me with the application process and prepared me for what colleges, all the freedoms that I was going to be exposed to. When I entered college is when I had one of my first mentors. Her name is Sarah, and she helped me during my junior year, and she guided me uh, to programs and to job opportunities that I could go into. This was also during the pandemic, so there was a bit of a struggle here, but she still helped me prepare my resume. She helped me with my LinkedIn profile and how to represent myself during interviews.
Mhm.
So I give her a lot of praise for that. Yeah,
That's
and
great.
I still have a lot of mentors in my life to this day.
Now, she was a mentor when you were in college, though, or in high school?
She was my mentor when I was in college, my junior year.
Okay. And did you find any mentors when you were in high school, or anyone?
I I guess I would say I had a few mentors in high school, one or two, but they were during my senior year, when we were beginning the college application process. And
Mhm.
I do still keep in touch with them to this day. One of them, his name is Mr. Checo, Michael Checo, and Mark Fusco. They were great people to me. Miss McCrillis was also one of the greatest people who helped me with my college application process. She saw how nervous I was looking into colleges and, you know, trying to map out my career. So, and she helped me a lot. So, yeah.
So were they part of the advisory group for the high school, or and did you seek them out?
So they were part of the advisory board. Yes. So we sought them out, and my high school was pretty small. So we all pretty much had our own designated advisors or assigned advisors, and Miss McCrillis was one of them for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Sometimes students in high school don't take advantage of their advisors. They probably don't even know who they are, and but it's nice that you did that. And I guess maybe it helped because of the size of the school too. What size? What size was your graduating school or class? I mean,
My graduating class, I believe, was 40 people.
yeah, it's small.
That
That is
yeah.
small. Man, that's really small. Okay, mine was 500.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every time I hear somebody say that, like, "Oh yeah, my graduating class was 1,000." I'm like, "Can't relate. Can't relate."
Yeah.
I knew everybody in
Yeah.
my graduating class.
Yeah, you're
Like
sitting
I knew
there
their
for a
names.
long you're either sitting there as a student for a long time where your name comes up, or you're sitting out there as a parent waiting for your kids to come through, so, yeah, interesting, yeah. Well, that's really cool, though. I'm glad you got that experience and you got that assistance. So what was it like going through college other than you did have someone to help you out with the mentorship, but were there any challenges that you had that you and how did you overcome it?
Yes, so there were a number of challenges I faced in college. One that really stuck with me was when I had a professor. I went up to him just to ask him a question about something in the course, and
Mhm.
he looked at me up and down, and he straight up told me, you should just drop the class because you're not going to be an engineer. And I immediately just like walked out of that office. I didn't even respond. I did not even say anything.
Mhm.
I just walked out, and I never went back to that class because for a man who didn't know me, not even my name, to tell me that I'm not going to be an engineer, that I'm not going to succeed in my field, really stuck with me because I was like, okay, I don't believe you. I don't know what you're going through, but that's not my truth, and I don't want to be around this type of energy.
Mhm.
So I took that and I used it as my fire and my flame to continue in my program, continue in my department, and move forward so I can graduate. And I did. So now, in a way, I'm kind of rubbing in his face like, you thought I wasn't going to be an engineer. I don't know where he is now, but I'm like, you're probably going to see me, not even remember me, but I will remember you. And the day I see you, I'm going to tell you to your face, like, you thought I wasn't going to be an engineer, man. But here I am
Yeah,
in like I'm leader in my field.
good for you. I'm so glad you did that. It's really kind of frustrating. It makes me angry when I hear that. But yeah, do you think it was because we're Latinas, or that when he looked at you, you didn't, as a woman and as a Latina, sometimes we have these challenges with male.
To be very honest, I don't know what the reasoning was. I didn't even think, oh, it's because I'm a woman or because I'm a Latina. I just looked
Mhm.
at it as he's he's an older gentleman who probably
Uh,
was just, I don't know.
yep.
He just didn't believe in me specifically
Yeah, and
because
that's
I felt equally qualified than all my other students in that class. Looking
right.
back on it now, yes, the class was primarily male dominated, but I didn't look at it as, oh, I'm a woman, I'm a Latina. I looked at it as this is a professor who just chose me out of everybody to not believe in me.
Hmm. And it's sad because their job is really to have you ask questions. Many times professors say, ask questions and people don't, and that's really what they expect or are looking for students to ask questions. So it's a shame on him to do that. So, and I'm real glad that you overcame that and that you showed him. And yeah, when you find his name, let me know.
Yep.
So, okay, so now you graduated, and what was the next step after that? I mean, how did you prepare? You had someone to help you with your resume. What did you learn from that experience?
Yes, so I have been a part of many different mentorship programs that I came across on LinkedIn. It was very difficult at first because, as we all know, we all suffered through a very difficult time this past 3 years. Corona, COVID came in with his Corona, and we all went running home, and it was quite a challenge. But I sought out mentors in my life, and I have them in my life to this day, and they helped me. They helped me with my resume, they helped me with my LinkedIn posts and my LinkedIn profile, they helped me with interview questions, how to represent myself, resources I can look into when it comes to advancing or even getting professional clothing. They were there for me, and they still are. I still have them on my contact list. I know for a fact that if I were to call them up right now and say, "Hey, I have a situation with work," they would stop what they're doing and say, "Okay, explain the situation and let's try to figure this out so you can be ready for the next day."
That's good. That's good. Did you take advantage of any of the Hispanic organizations while you were in college?
Unfortunately, they were not advertised as much, so I was not
Mm,
aware of them um, until my senior year, when I
mm.
was looking for opportunities and when I was looking at resources to help me connect with my Hispanic Latinx community. That's when I became exposed to all those opportunities and all those resources. And unfortunately, I had how do I say this? I had outgrown the requirements. Some of them have a requirement to be a
Oh,
sophomore or a
yeah.
junior,
Yeah.
and I was a senior by that point. So
Hmm.
it was kind of late for me in a way, but
Mm.
I still kept those in mind. And to be quite honest, I actually am involved with a club at my university, Society of Women Engineers.
Oh,
And
cool.
while there's all different types of races or ethnic backgrounds in that group, I shared it with everyone
Yeah.
because I don't know who's in the group. I don't know who's in my position or who was in my position. And I want to, you know, I don't want to be a gatekeeper. I want to be able to share those resources and help anyone advance, even if they don't know me and I don't know them.
That's great. And that's what this platform's for, is to definitely tell your story so they know what to expect or what to do or how to be strong like you. And definitely also our mentorship is on an app. So we're connecting Latinas like you to Latina high school students, because this is a journey that's new for them and they can't see someone like you in their community sometimes, most of the time, because we're so low in representation. And yeah, SWE is an excellent organization. I was part of SWE when I was at Michigan State, so I like SWE a lot. They're very well known too. I mean, they do a good job of being out there at the university. So it's good that you're part of their organization, and you're continuing to be active with them. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Are you still active with them as a professional now?
Society of Women Engineers.
Yeah.
Yes, I still, whenever I come across an opportunity on LinkedIn or whenever I hear of a group that I'm connected with, like Latinx and sustainability, or even environmental advisors. That's another group that I'm involved in on LinkedIn. There are a bunch of other ones. WISE, Women in Sustainability and Energy, Women in Sustain or Science and Energy. Whenever I find that they're looking for individuals or looking for candidates for their opportunities, I share that with with uh with the group, with the club on their Discord. And I also share that with their opportunities chairwoman. So it doesn't look like I'm overshadowing anybody or stepping on anybody's toes. I share it with them and I say, hey, I found this opportunity that I think would benefit the women in the group. So I want to share it with you so you can share it with everyone during the next general meeting. And yeah.
That's great. That's wonderful. Now, for Latinas listening about this in high school, not sure about what environmental engineering is like, what were some of the courses in that area for you that you took to prepare before you went out to the career world?
Yeah, so a lot of my courses were mechanical, electrical, and civil engineering based. And the program at City College for environmental engineering pretty much touched every engineering department. There was not one left out. Chemical, biomedical engineering was a course in there. I've taken a lot of ME courses, mechanical engineering courses. I've taken some thermodynamic civil engineering courses. Um, my my major had three concentrations, and there were air, water, and energy. I at first thought I was going into the air certification, but I ended up going through their energy concentration, which was very fun and actually aligned with my personal mission, my personal brand, which is looking on how to make New York more sustainable. Health, so the health of the individuals that live in our city can
Mhm.
can be better versus be in jeopardy.
Yeah. Yeah, in our community is for 50% of, unfortunate we don't have that, what do they call it? I can't remember the word. Disengaged, that we don't have, good health. We don't know, we don't have the awareness of it in our community. So that's why there's a lot of asthma and suffering in the Latino community, which is really sad. So uh, preventative is really big, but yet if they don't know about how to prevent, it's hard. So yeah. Oh, that's great. So now you graduated, but I also saw that you had something to do at NASA. So why don't you tell us about that experience?
Yes. So during the pandemic, we were all pretty much at home doing our courses via Skype and Zoom. What I had done was a lot of companies I had applied to for their summer internship or their summer programs had closed ultimately because of the situation we were all in. And with that being said, I did not want to just be home and, just waiting for this pandemic to go away. We didn't even know at the time if it was even going to be go away. We weren't even sure if we were going to be back to what is now our normal. And yeah, so what I ended up doing was I was on LinkedIn and just looking for opportunities. I started following so many different individuals, different leaders in their fields. I would join all of these groups. This is where I began joining all of these groups in Slack and Discord. And ultimately, I came across this one girl. Her name is Emily, and she went to Columbia, and she had posted on her LinkedIn saying that she had completed a NASA program, the that NASA program, and I messaged her. I asked her like, "Hey, what is this? Like, I see that you're part of this. Is there like a GPA requirement? Is this a virtual opportunity that anyone can embark on? Is this specifically for Columbia?" And she was like, "No, you can apply." And I started doing my research. I saw that there were so many individuals posting about their capstone projects. And so what I ended up doing was I started reaching out to those individuals, asking them about their experience and how they felt about the program. And with all of that knowledge, I then applied. And at first, they had met their limit, so they had 500 students in for that fall, I believe, of 2020, I believe. And
Mhm.
so they offered me a spot in the spring of 2021. So
That's fantastic.
I pretty much accepted. I was like I wasn't even mad that I got bumped into another semester. I was just so thrilled to be in the program, so I ran with it. I said, "Okay, I'll wait a semester. I'll prepare," you know? And so
Yeah, no.
yeah, and so when we had started our program, I got to know 10 other individuals from all over the world. And I say all over the world because, like, while we had majority of our students, or majority of my team was based in I guess North and South America, I did have one teammate where she was on the East Coast in India. Yep.
Oh, that is pretty cool. No, that's great. And you found that out through LinkedIn then, and you went on that opportunity. How long was the program for?
So
And
it was for 12 weeks, if I remember correctly. It was 12 weeks. And that's one program. They had another program that I was also involved in. So there's two. It's a mission concept academy. And then the other one, which is pretty long, it's it's a grant program where where you're learning how to develop a grant, and you're pitching an idea to NASA engineers and scientists on what their next mission should be. And I took part in that after I completed my Mission Concept Academy. And I was actually on board with another friend of mine, another teammate from my first program, from my first cohort. And yeah, we had a lot of fun
wow.
connecting and redoing, or not redoing, but doing another project similar, and learning all of the skills on what it is to be a team player, an engineer, a proposal writer, a grant illustrator, and even a project manager, because some of us had project management roles in our team.
Hmm. Wow, that's really good experience, and definitely something that your mentors must have made sure you put in your resume because it was really amazing.
Mhm.
All the things you learn, the team player, the basically solving and presenting, uh, problem solving. It's really good skills that are transferable just about everywhere. So, okay, so now you're in the energy industry. Tell us about that. How is that, and
Yeah.
how do you like it, and what's it like?
Yeah. So I love my job a lot. It's actually everything that I wanted. Like when I first graduated college, when I was actually interviewing for my job with Warren Energy, I told them, like, yeah, I enjoy going out in the field. I enjoy doing field work. I'm not shy to get dirty or get my hands dirty. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yep.
I enjoy going out, and they told me, while this is a hybrid position, a lot of my time will be out in the field, more so than
Mm.
online. So I was like, great, I'm up for it. So as an inspector, I pretty much go out to buildings. I go out to clients and customers, and also participate in contractors, and I pretty much inspect if the building equipment or the building's technology is up to par, or is up to the New York sustainability standards, so that
Mhm.
the building is more energy efficient and can meet certain energy codes. Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So you go to all different types of industries or different levels of businesses?
Yes, so I'm exposed to a lot of different individuals in the field. I'm exposed to chief engineers, project managers, other contractors, other forms of engineers, mechanical, energy engineers, and I'm learning on the job just as much as they're learning with me about my job. I'm pretty much like inspecting and verifying that everything is installed and everything is operating in the way that they said that they would, but I'm also learning how the technologies and how the equipments and all of these things work, and how they function and are integrated into the building. Because it's one thing to know how one thing works, it's one thing to see it actually in front of you, and then to learn how it operates and how it can function and how it's benefiting the lives of the individuals in that space is another thing. And when I get that visual aid, it actually makes me understand it more, because I'm a visual person, and I also learn from hands-on opportunities. So,
Oh, that's great. That's really neat. So you're really exposed to something that's obviously very important. Without energy, what can we do? So, and now there's all different types of energy. I know that there's the wind energy, solar energy, and now we've got the vehicles, the electric car is coming. So you were probably going to be involved a little bit in some of those too with the energy company you work with,
Yes,
I assume.
there's going to be a lot of different projects coming in. As an energy engineer, I focus on how to make buildings more sustainable uh,
Mm.
because, as a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know this. 60% of carbon emissions is emitted by buildings versus a
Mm.
car. Um,
Wow.
Buildings release more CO2 into the atmosphere than any other surveyed what's it called, surveyed space or surveyed area. A lot of
Mm.
people, even me, mistook and thought that cars were the main contributor to the CO2 epidemic or
Mhm.
pandemic in a way. But in reality, it's
Mhm.
actually the buildings because they're the ones using so much energy and releasing so much energy. Because as we all know, we all work in offices, we all work in buildings. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, safety to us too. Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. That's I learned something so new today. And it's like, no, when I go into a building, I'll be thinking of you.
Yep.
I'll say, yep,
If
I
you
know about this.
Yes, and in New York, one last thing, there's actually a benchmark code that we have. So it's a local law here, and if you see a building, not a restaurant, but a building in New York, and it has a letter grade on it, that's the building energy code. So if it's closer to A, that means the building is energy efficient and it's being economically and sustainably developed in a way. But if it's on the lower side, then, make sure to maybe slip in an opportunity about, upgrading their LED lights or
Yeah.
upgrading their boiler system and making everything electrical and, going into steam and versus the
Yeah.
fossil or what's it called? Fossil fuel. Hmm.
Wow. So is that like publicly posted on the
Yes.
building that people can see that right on the front or something? Or
Yes.
as you come in with their license or?
Yes,
Oh,
they're posted right in front of the buildings, and it's actually so it's a local law, so it like each building has to put it in front of their building to show like what their
mhm.
energy code is, what their benchmark is, and if not, then they are fined a certain amount of money. I don't know what that number is. I believe it's based on the square footage of the area or of the building,
Mhm.
the volume, how tall
Right.
it is, how much energy they are releasing in that given year, but they are fined. And I mean, the best way to get someone is in through their wallet. This is through money.
Yeah. Well, I'll be keeping an eye and not going into any buildings that don't have an A in it. Sounds great. Well, thank you, Stephanie. I think this has been really good. I think it's very informative. One question that if you were to go back to high school, is there anything else you would do differently to prepare for the journey you've had, or something you would, do something? I mean, you did a lot of great things, but I'm just kind of,
I guess one thing I would tell my little self, my younger self, is to not be afraid. Um, don't be afraid. Okay, like you have a voice. Use it. There's such a big world out there and people want to hear you, people want to talk to you. Don't be afraid and don't don't close your walls off. Yeah.
that's great advice. Thank you so much. Thank you, Stephanie. You're amazing. And I can't wait to see where else you go. Sounds cool. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful for this opportunity and I hope that whoever is listening really feels inspired to come into engineering. It's a male dominated field. I want to see more women in this field. um, my male coworkers are intelligent, no disrespect to them, like they know what they're doing. I just want to see more women in this field because we are just as intelligent as our male companions, as our male coworkers, and we gotta show that, right?
That's right. Yep. Need more Latinas in these fields too, because it's affecting our communities. So the only way to really fix that is to be more in this field. So thank you for saying that. Appreciate it. Well, this concludes our interview with Ask the Latina. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back at our program again. Thank you. Thank you for listening to our episode. And please, if you know a Latina high school student or early college student who is interested in having our guests mentors to mentor them, have them go visit askthelatina.com and select I Want a Mentor. Our mentorship app pairs Latinas students with Latina professionals so they can successfully apply for college and go through college in these fields where we just do not have enough representation. Thank you.